We, the Bangla people, welcome you to our country. We are the lawful inhabitants of this peninsula for thousands of generations. We are part of this land on which we stand, part of the waters that flow in and around. We are part of the dreaming stories that are connected. The full awareness of oneness with the land and waters will ensure a future for the children of tomorrow. Ngaya Wanaguru Bangala Mirinya Yura Damilbu. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome everybody here to our ordinary council meeting tonight. At least we're keeping you inside where it is a little bit cooler than being outside. As is tradition and seriously, in delivering the oath to Whyalla on behalf of all elected members, we, the Whyalla Council members, commit to serving the community of which we are a part and will work together diligently and collaboratively to create a prosperous future in which we all can share. Item 3 are obituary notices. I ask that if all that can or wish to stand with a traditional moment of silence after this. And we remember our residents. Victorina Fernandez, Patricia Miller, David McManus, John Craney, Linda Bailey, Roger Batt, Anthony Criticos, and Robert Schmid. It is also my sad duty to record the passing of Kathy Jarrett, our former Director of Corporate Services, who left council last year after her contract had finished, looking at her next chapter in life, moving closer to her family in Adelaide. She has just passed and we will remember Kathy. Thank you. Before we proceed, I'd just like to refer to CEO.
Just on behalf of the staff, I do want to echo the Mayor's sentiments regarding Kathy Jarrett. Up on the screen, I've got a couple of slides. These slides were part of the presentation that Kathy provided to myself when she applied for the Director of Corporate Services role just a little bit over 5 years ago. Added to this list was that she also became a grandmother in more recent years. And as the Mayor said, returned to Adelaide to be closer to her mother, her sister, her son, and her grandchildren. And I note at the bottom, Kathy was very much a friend and a colleague for many of us in Whyalla. Those that knew Kathy knew that she took her inspiration from many great leaders throughout time, history, and across the globe. Kathy served in many councils across South Australia, including City of Marion, City of Whyalla, worked for a period of time at the Government Association of South Australia, and also did some time up at the Palmerston Council in Northern Territory. It's fun to reflect on what Kathy said that she would bring to the position. Importantly, a strong servant leader, someone with a passion for community, and a good relationship with elected members and staff alike. It's rather interesting. 5 years ago, this is where Kathy reflected she would be in 5 years' time. I'll let you look at the graphic and come to your own conclusion as to whether she is where she thought she was going to be 5 years ago. And lastly, this was one of the last photos that was taken of Kathy while she was still working for us in Whyalla. And what really I look at this photo fondly. One is the size of Kathy compared to the audience that she's talking to. But despite being small in stature, she had a gravitas and a strength of character, strength of passion, strength of heart. And it's great to see all of the smiling faces and clapping hands around it. And that was obviously for the Whyalla airport upgrade opening. So I just wanted to say a few words. Kathy was a significant contributor to council over recent years, and we obviously thinking of the family and friends at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO. Item 4, our attendance record 4.1, apologies. We have an apology from Councillor Campbell. She is not with us tonight because her father has just passed, and many will know him, William Billy Campbell. So our thoughts are also with Councillor Campbell tonight. 4.2, a leave of absence. We have the leave of absence still in place for Councillor Todd. Item 5, council member and executive declarations. 5.1, conflicts of interest. Does anybody have a conflict of interest they feel should be declared? Yes, Councillor Border.
I'd like to prepare a conflict of interest for the local heritage register. I think one of those residents will be leaving the room with that decision. And in the confidentiality section, there's one item there where I'm very involved with the schools.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further conflicts of interest? No, thank you. Item 5.2, gifts and benefits. Does anybody have a gift or benefit they feel should be declared? No, thank you. Item 6, minutes of the previous meeting. 6.1, confirmation of the minutes of the previous ordinary council meeting held on Tuesday, 27th of January. We have a recommendation there. I'll take as read. With somebody move Councillor Inglis. Do I have a seconder?
I was moved by David.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that. Councillor Knox. Yeah, move seconded. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 7, matters adjourned or laid on the table. We have none. Item 8, deputations. We have none. Item 9, petitions. We have none. Item 10, pardon me, public question time. We have some. First of all, a question from Mr. B. Harding, a resident business owner, regarding to parking in Patterson Street. The question is, what will council do to stop delivery trucks crashing into my veranda? This started happening when you put in the planter boxes. The most recent were May 2025 and December 2025, resulting in the demolition of our stamped metal lining. Answer to the question, council will investigate amending the parking spaces directly in front of the business to be signposted for light vehicle, passenger vehicles only. Item 10.1.2, a question from council correspondence. The question, why does council rely on Australia Post instead of email? The answer, council is required to notify all landholders formally under the Planning, Development and Infrastructure Act when undertaking a code amendment which may affect their property. Council holds all postal addresses for all properties within our council area. However, not every property owner provides an email address. Therefore, given the number of properties which require notification under this process and that we have postal addresses available to us, it was considered appropriate to use Australia Post as a historically trusted form of delivery service. Questions, item 10.2 from Mr. A. Humby on behalf of the South Australian Housing Trust. This is in relation to the Whyalla Heritage Code amendment. First question. South Australian Housing Trust lodged a submission supported by a heritage report from Dash Architects recommending that, if applied, the SAHT historic area overlay be limited to the Symes Street extent identified in the 2007 survey. Council's heritage consultants state in the agenda report, page 173 of 376, that reducing the overlay to the 2007 Symes Street area could be considered a reasonable compromise. However, the staff recommendation proposes no changes to the overlay. Have elected members actively considered limiting the overlay to the Symes Street extent as identified by Council's own consultants? And if so, what are the reasons for retaining the expanded boundary? The answer: architectural advice received from Kate Patterson Associate, Heritage and Design of Hosking Willis Architecture, is that the entirety of the now proposed SAHT historic area overlay are of heritage significance. Kate further affirms that there is no doubt that the heritage value of the area extends beyond the originally proposed extent, which is concentrated around Symes Street, 2007, and by only including that reduced area, the resulting overlay area would just be a sample of the significant building stock and heritage area. It is the opinion of the project team that the SAHT historic area overlay should not be reduced, as this would remove significance of the heritage. However, should this overlay prove contentious, the reduction of the overlay to reflect the extent of the 2007 survey would be preferable to the total removal. Question 2. Further, the report suggests the overlay policies are not considered overly onerous, page 174 of 376. Given the strict demolition and performance tests that apply, particularly where demolition is only contemplated if buildings are substantially altered or beyond reasonable repair, how has Council considered the potential impact of these controls on the Trust's ability to upgrade or redevelop housing to support contemporary social housing outcomes? The answer: Council has reviewed the composition of the proposed SAHT overlay and notes that the Housing Trust currently owns approximately 40% of the housing stock. As the majority of these are semi-detached dwellings, Council considers that contemporary social housing outcomes can be effectively achieved through additions and alterations rather than demolition. Specifically, the policies generally support expansion to the rear and side where sympathetic, allowing for necessary upgrades while retaining the heritage character of the streetscape. They are the questions and answers.
I have a question.
Yes, Councillor.
What date did that letter come in?
Today.
Just that we have a recommendation before it's like the agenda, we have a measure there. The table that we had no knowledge of.
The letters I've received today, Councillor, so that's why this is a public question time item, fiction item.
Thank you.
Item 11, council member activities, which are there, scrolling up on the screen. As usual, I'll give you a moment if anybody wants to expand on anything. Oh, thank you for your input. Item 12, presentations, we have none. Item 13, committee reports. We have item 14, council officers. 14.1, the office of the chief executive, ordinary reports. 14.1.1, chief executive officers action report, February 2026. Yes, sir.
Just with the indulgence of the council, I would like to just provide a quick verbal update on a couple of the resolutions that are listed in the attachment. I'll ask Grant first to just provide an update regarding the section 184 sale process for payment in lieu of outstanding rates.
Yep, thank you through the mayor. So with that process, we are at the point of moving towards sale. There are some of the properties that we've sent official registered notifications to through the post. Didn't officially accept those. So if they don't accept the registered post, it's not as delivered or received. So with those properties, we do need to provide basically notices on the properties and in the advertiser. So I've just been waiting to hear back from our lawyer. Unfortunately, had taken some extended leave over the January period. So I've heard back from them in the last week. We're moving towards getting those notices posted in the next couple of weeks. And then we're able to auction properties a month after that. So while after we get those notices posted, we'll start to move towards the sale process with engaging officially the real estate agent that we've already had conversations with, but get the actual official process for sale and an auction date after that has been done.
Thank you.
And if I can just get Jodie Frame to update regarding the lockers at the foreshore and the Mount Laura buying into trailer.
The locker has been identified the best place to put them to be the new build. So that's been integrated into that design. And the bike trail has had a review of the items that were through the resolution that were itemised for delivery, and that's been packaged up and going back out for confirmation that that's acceptable. And
That little update. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, CEO. Anybody with any questions, I can refer to the CEO. Yes, Councillor Topping.
CEOs and civil engagements, we had a meeting with Edge, I think,
Yes, Airgenetic is a supplier of AI technology specifically designed for councils. They presented their solution to council to look at to give us the opportunity to look at the merits of applying that technology. Primarily, it's to enable people attending council's website to be able to make inquiry using AI and to be able to render back answers in a very user-friendly format, drawing on information that's on our website and in our council policy. So it was a very positive presentation, and we're looking at the opportunity to potentially onboard that software. Just please look at the budget implications and the timing, but it's certainly a very powerful and very good solution.
Yes, Councillor Gordon.
Just further to that, and that was actually a question that I had for you as well. Are there any budget implications? Are there any estimates that Airgenetic can provide of huge costs that are going to be saved to the software? Is that going to unfold as you go through the process?
Look, I don't believe they certainly didn't mention anything during the presentation. I think most of the savings will actually be from the customer or resident's perspective, actually interacting with our website and being able to get the information much more efficiently than what they can get at present. And what was really quite fascinating was that you can actually give the AI a script to talk about how to provide a response and be very empathetic to the person's individual situation, being able to draw on information that's available from council's website and records, and being able to actually give them a much more richer response very quickly than what they would a customer or resident would get, potentially even if they rang our customer services team. during the middle of the day, because the AI is just so efficient at being able to get that information back and be able to do some prompted responses based on the nature of the query. For example, if someone rings in a very agitated state about council's rates, the AI script can actually provide a response and actually talk to that person about what's happened with their capital valuation, whether they're entitled to any pensioner discounts or the like. If they say, well, Joe Bloke across the road, their property didn't go up half as much as mine, being able to reference and provide, a response that draws some relativities, potentially even to be tested. Why are council rates so much more expensive in Whyalla compared to Metropolitan Adelaide? You can run certain scripts and give certain information to draw on. So very, very powerful. Stating the obvious, many councils are starting to embrace AI as a way of improving its customer experience. So it's certainly something that we're keen to explore further.
Thanks, mate. Just further to that, you want to got a minute, go check out maybe I think it's Flinders Rangers Council. They're the first one. There's a few councils are using it, but they're the first one to integrate the voice technology, I believe. So people can either type or they can talk to the app and get a verbal response. So I think Flinders Rangers Council website gone live with the voice.
Thank you. Yes, Deputy Mayor Pyle.
On your engagements, I see that you met with the golf club regarding their lease. Just wondering if there's any sort of concerns that they have on their side that you can share with us?
Yes. It was with Noel Colesbury. So it was there representing the golf club, so it wasn't a number of members. I think it was a good conversation, good exchange of information two-way. He shared with us some of the challenges that the golf club has had in recent times, particularly due to issues associated with the steelworks going into administration and the amount of payments they were needing to make to be able to access water, to green their facilities, and having to make tough decisions to reduce the water consumption given their financial situation. So there was some good exchange of information. Where the conversation ended was that I'm to provide an email to the golf club outlining some of the matters that they could consider before coming back to us to talk further about how they might wish to proceed with the conversation around an increase in their lease. It was a good conversation. I actually learned a lot myself through the conversation. Things that you just don't think about, including obviously in the hot chair of running a golf club.
And just one more quick thing, on the list of engagements, it said that we had our one-on-one and we haven't had that as yet, so maybe update the list. I did wait considerable time in the front office and then I had to move on to my next appointment.
No, I appreciate that and hold the game. So, something else come up which benefited from seeing, so I'll update the records and get another meeting scheduled.
Free schedule.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any further? Yes, Councillor Knox.
Very quick one. We've covered the dates off for the local government elections. But I'm just wondering, what's the last day of their term of office?
The technical answer for that would be the day that the election results are declared by the electoral commissioner, because that is the, I think it's the day after that is the first day that the new council comes into existence. And it's noting that it's difficult to find that because it depends on how long it takes to do the voting and ultimately doing the declaration. There has been experiences in the past where the voting's been completed, but for whatever reason, the electoral commissioner hasn't confirmed the final election results.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further questions to the CEO? Otherwise, we have a report that recommended. Sorry? Thank you. Thank you, councillor Knox has moved, seconded councillor Inglis. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 14.1.2. Stamp duty exemption petition. Have a report and a recommendation. In the first instance, I'll refer any questions to the CEO. There are no questions or comments. Does somebody care to move the recommendation? Move councillor Copley. Do I have a second? Seconded Deputy Mayor Pond. Motion moved and seconded. I'll put that motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 14.2, Corporate Services Ordinary Reports. 14.2.1, the monthly budget report for January 2026. As usual, in the first instance, if anybody has any questions or comments, I will refer to the CEO. Anybody got any questions? No question? In that case, we have a recommendation that we note the monthly budget report for January 2026. Somebody care to move that? Move councillor Border, seconded councillor Simpson. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 14.2.2. Sorry. Yeah.
Would you like an update on those projects?
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, through the mayor, with the indulgence of the council, whilst you've just moved that report, did want to take the opportunity to provide a couple of quick verbal updates on a couple of the items, just so that councillors have got the most recent information. If I can, in the first instance, ask Grant just to quickly provide an update regarding the airport projects.
Yep, certainly can. So, council hopefully would remember, I think we spoke briefing recently, so we did get permission endorsement from the state and federal governments to move the unspent funds from the runway project across 3 other projects, being a new airside fence, a new electrical switchboard and a new water main for the airport. But those projects do need to be completed by 30th of June this year to be eligible. So we've got some very tight timeframes. So we've been having regular project group meetings and they're moving along. So the fencing one is probably the most progressed at this time. So we've got full design of the new fence. We've got native veg clearance approved, and we're about to engage the contractor hopefully tomorrow to clear that native veg. And then we'll be going out to the market in the next week or so to find a fencing contractor. So that one, from a timing perspective, is probably the least risky. And tomorrow as well, we'll be looking to engage an engineering firm to basically complete the detailed design of the electrical switchboard and the water main. And then that consultant will also assist with superintendency of the actual project, but we will go to the market to get the contractors to deliver the main and the switchboard. So look, there's definitely some tight timeframes. We've got some project resources on that and a project working group. So yeah, moving through to move through that fairly quickly.
Pretty confident we'll get that forward. Yeah.
Yeah, well, look, we've made it clear to the state government. The state government have asked for an update, and we've made it clear that it'll be contractor availability. The main is we've worked out some timeframes that we can deliver it. It'll just be what's like. So we just have to find the right contractor who has the availability to deliver, around to the other 2 projects.
And if I can get Jody to provide an update regarding the Plaza Splash and Play, the surf life saving and South Whyalla Football Club building, and the civic toilet.
The civic park toilets are in and being moved as we speak, commissioned by the end of next week. So that will be finished then. Certain life saving part of the tenders are closed. We are going through tender review. That meeting is tomorrow. We are hopeful that we will have mainly on 1 to 2 contractors. I can say that there will be some further works to be undertaken in relation to this tender process, and that's where I will leave that. That's a special play. The Certified Saving Club is the plans being finalised. We hope to have them out to tender by the end of March, early April. Without that tender process. So the Certified Saving Club has been out on consultation. We've seen there were some QR codes and some pieces that was under the PDI Act. So that was a notification required under the development approval process. We've received one representation glowing support, loving everything there is to love about that building. And then we've received one from General Main Street, more of a statement, but must be regarded as a representation, so that will now need to go to panel determination. But we're DA's progressing, sorry, and the tender budget gap.
I'll just ask a question. When do you anticipate we might start the real plan and how long the completion?
We need to approve that project by December under the funding model. So we would love to have some contracts awarded in the next couple of weeks. There are some challenges in that, but we would love to see spring returned and that project starting into this financial year. Or for it to be able to complete it.
And lastly, Paul, if you can update on bridging, childcare centre, and whether we've heard anything back from Keith regarding Anderson Avenue traffic control.
Through the chair, the dredging at the arenas of Whyalla Arena, it's been completed and we're moving on to Whyalla. And that still looks on track for March 26th, so I think it's going to be childcare centre is probably a Jody update. And
There we go. You go.
Yep. Yeah, and the signage we checked again, it's just in the hands of DIP for approval for the 40k signage. It's been in there for about 3 months. So I said to staff today, I'll have the name of the person again and make a call. So I've got a few people going to see if we can get that. Get it on quicker. It's too long. 3 months is too long.
Oh, just a question. When are they going to start dredging at Lytton?
So boys, have they set up the point only dredging use?
We're going to do it next week because of the weather. So what they're doing is on the piping, they will be doing with the then turning out to the point only.
And then we could, yesterday, some people couldn't get the boats out yesterday at low tide. February has the lowest tide, so it's probably a perfect time to do it.
Just Thursday, isn't it?
Childcare centre, so the outdoor play spaces are in progress, so the poles are in for the shade sails and the like, and contracts been awarded for the softball play stuff, and the tender packages are ready and out into dealings. So that's a couple of weeks, that's in the process too. They've been packaged individually.
Thanks, Sam.
No, thank you very much for those updates, very handy. Now, back to item 14.2.2, the annual review of confidential orders. Now, looking at what we did last year, the proposed way of moving forward, subject to your thoughts, is that we have a recommendation that council notes the administration has undertaken an annual review of all items for the current confidentiality order and endorses the recommendations as detailed within Annexure A. And it has been suggested that because of the way the list is, that we do them en bloc in various numbers, which are the ones to be retained in confidentiality. And that comprises 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 blocks. Are we happy to do it that way? Yes.
I think we can do that with the exception of councillor Inglis.
Yes.
And items 29, 36 and 52.
Okay. On that basis, with that recommendation, which of course is on the screen, see how we go. Would somebody care to move and second items en bloc 1 to 28? Place movement. Right, move councillor Simpson, seconded councillor Porter. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Second block is items 30 to 35. Somebody care to move and second? Move councillor Clobberger, seconded councillor Porter. Thank you. I'll put that motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Third block, items 37 to 51. Somebody would care to move? Move councillor Porter. Do I have a seconder? Seconded councillor Simpson. Thank you. Put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. The next block would be items 53 to 174. Somebody care to move that they be retained? Councillor Porter moved. I'll have a seconder. Seconded councillor Weston. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you.
Question, so item 72, I think I have a conflict.
Sorry.
Item 72, I think I have a conflict. Wanting to leave or just not vote on that one? Just rolled at that.
We've just been through that. We've just voted on,
Of 72.
Yeah.
which is within
53
53 to 174.
Apologies. Okay, sorry, I was one block behind. Okay. I'm not in any official capacity, it's official, just my figure enrolled.
And just for completeness, we'll just note in the minutes, the potential conflict of interest, but because it's procedural in nature.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And those remaining items, items 29, 36 and 52 relate to our waste contracts. So councillor Inglis can declare a conflict in relation to those items.
I definitely have a conflict in relation to it.
You can do that and then.
Speak to exit,
Please.
oh,
Right.
Care to move that the remainder of confidential orders, items 29, 36 and 52 be retained. Move councillor Borden, seconded councillor Simpson. Put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Councillor Inglis.
Yeah, I'll go get him.
Thank you.
The original recommendation with the documents. And then we had the documents, the first one.
Standards and other first block.
So still. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, tick off that.
That's fine.
Just go to the toilet, so you can continue and come back. Oh. Yeah.
But speak up a little bit louder so everybody knows. Item 14.2.3, Whyalla City Council Emergency Management Policy. We have a recommendation there based on the report. Again, in the first instance, if anybody has any questions or comments, I'll refer to the CEO. Otherwise, would somebody care to move Councillor Knox, seconded Councillor Border? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 14.2.4, the procurement and contract management policy, minor review. We have a recommendation there in the first instance. Any questions or comments to the CEO? Otherwise, would somebody care to move that recommendation? Move Councillor Border. We'll have a seconder, please. Councillor Koplica. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 14.2.5, the enforcement policy. We have a recommendation. If there are no questions or comments, somebody care to move that recommendation? Move Deputy Mayor Pont. I have a seconder. Seconded Councillor Simpson. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 14.2.6, the policy management framework. There are no questions or comments. Would somebody care to move the recommendation that council adopts the policy management framework?
So moved.
Move Councillor Border. Have a seconder, please. Seconded Councillor Koplica. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Just before I move on to 14.2.7, I'd just like to remark that there's been a lot with all those policies that have to come up. There's a lot of work that's gone on behind the scenes, and I acknowledge the administration areas who individually have to go through and come up with those. Policies aren't always highly regarded, and the amount of time that goes into it, but I'd like to acknowledge that there is a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. Item 14.2.7, 4-year delivery plan. We have a recommendation. Prior to that, if there are any questions or comments, refer to the CEO.
A question?
Yes, Councillor Board.
Thank you, Mayor. Page 151, the WA link. Is that, just confirming that that's what's required to enable the installation of security cameras at the filter, is that correct? So when that work is done, we implement that.
That's correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Certainly a very information-packed guide to us as to what's proposed. Of course, all to work together to achieve. There's no further questions. Would somebody care to move the recommendation? Move Councillor Border. Do I have a seconder, please? Seconded Councillor Kopica. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 14.3. My panel's off. That's what's telling me I'm about to go flat. Item 14.3, City Growth Ordinary Reports, 14.3.1, the Whyalla Local Heritage Code Amendment. Very lengthy report for obvious reasons, with recommendations there in the first instance. Any questions or comments? I'll refer to the CEO. Yes, Councillor Board.
Just wanted to declare a conflict of interest. This is one of those houses so old with the department.
Thank you, councillor. Councillor Simpson?
Yeah. Change the letter we received earlier today. That reflects on the decision we made here tonight, doesn't it? Does it? Of course it does.
Yes, through the man, yes.
So to speak, that information was already in the report, in that submission had been received from the SAHT and how we had reviewed that and our commentary going forward. So it's new to a, question type, but it's not new to the report. So they had already put in representation saying why they felt that the policies may not be supported by them and how that may impact the buildings that they own. And that's been put to the report and answered in the report.
Okay, because it wasn't on reading. We did this one last year, I think.
There is a lot in those documents. Yeah, so I just wanted to make
Okay, I
that.
just want to make sure that we know that it's not a conflict with what we do.
They've had an opportunity, and they were actually late with their submission to council, but we took it and we accepted it, even though they were late. So we still accepted it, we've dealt with it, and we've recommended that we still go forward with that area for the protective reasons.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? If not, thank you. Thank you, councillor Moo, councillor Knox, seconded councillor Inglis. I'll put the motion, those in favour. Against, carried. Thank you. Thank you, Grant. Item 14.3.2, changes to the safe environment policy. Another one that's had a fair bit of work on behind the scenes. If there are no questions or comments, will somebody care to move the recommendation? Move councillor Simpson, seconded Deputy Mayor Pond. Thank you. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carry. 14.3.3, honouring our local legends, the Barry Rockham Gates, which council has already been aware of was coming up. We have a recommendation there. Before I put it to the vote, anybody with any questions or comments to the CEO? Councillor Knox.
I've got a comment. It's a little bit lazy, but I put a person's full name in there. And in the background, we've got a suggestion made by one resident, Ms. Melanie. I think it was one particular surname, and surely somebody could have found that out. But secondly, it wasn't like presented to a council by Ms. Melanie. So presented to council by myself and later by councillor Whyalla with a motion. So that is incorrect.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Incomplete and incomplete.
Any further questions or comments? We have a recommendation. Sorry?
I'll move it.
Seconded.
Move councillor Inglis, seconded councillor Knox. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 14.3.4, community grant. We have a recommendation. Again, if there are any questions or comments, I'll refer to the CEO. Councillor Knox.
First one is it appropriate for the staff to make decisions on locations for leases without referring them out to council?
I would say the delegation allows on the, it's not controversial. Staff delegation to enter into a lease, I believe is.
Yeah, so the ability to enter into non-commercial leases was previously delegated by the council to the chief executive officer. Okay.
Second one is, there's nothing.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk to this one. So while this report was put up by Gail, I had some input into it, because as you can see in the report, I've been working with this group around this lease. It came in as an unsolicited proposal, but came in under the threshold for needing to come directly to council. So a little bit of the background is Justin gave in support. Yeah, so it'll abut up directly to the dirt car club. So while there's the dirt car club, there's the drag thing, so it'll be in between them, but abutting to the dirt car club, 500 metres by 500 metres.
The other comment, I'm not against this, so I'm all for it, I love months on this. But I wonder if you explore the opportunities. Clubs in Whyalla are struggling, we all know that, lots of them. Can we explore the opportunities for them to share facilities with the other clubs out there?
We did. So that was actually Justin's first question. We went back and discussed that with the club. The nature of their facility was that they actually used the track itself at the same time, and they need a very different track. So there was no opportunity to share any track facilities. In terms of their club rooms, their club rooms, as you know, at the moment, are not actually out at their track. They're at the wetlands, so they lease the building off from council separately. In the initial move, they don't plan to, so they're just planning to move the track and the very basic facilities they have out there, toilets, storage. They do have a long-term wish to move their club, build a club room out at site, but that's going to take a bit more grant funding that they are looking into. So I guess the way it worked is they couldn't actually use the track facilities of the other groups. It doesn't work. They need a different track build to the dirt car club. So it made sense for them to have a lease area for the track. And they have actually spoken to the dirt car club and didn't think that their facilities would meet their requirements, and they'd rather keep their wetlands home than share that particular facility. So we did have that conversation, but they didn't see an opportunity. They are also a club that, when you actually look at their finances, they're actually pretty well run and have pretty good community support. So most of that track facility building, for instance, will be done in kind.
Recommendation.
Thank you, councillor. Seconded, councillor Inglis. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 14.4, City Infrastructure Ordinary Reports. 14.4.1, Roads and Public Place Names Policy. There are no questions or comments. Yes, councillor Ward.
Question. And it's fairly practical in nature. On page 310, I'm trying to find the best document to answer my question. In page 8 policy, page 310 of the agenda, 6.2.1, road name signs shall be placed to clearly identify the road to which the name applies. Currently, the signs on intersections, in my opinion, block each other out because they're at the same height. And so I'm just hoping that we can put some wording in there. I suggest we amend the policy to ensure that they are staggered to increase visibility. Simple, but simple in a lot of precedents.
Chair, that's probably
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you for your input, councillor. Move councillor Border. Do I have a seconder, please? Seconded, councillor Simpson. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 14.4.2, Point Lowly Lighthouse Renewal. You have a one-line recommendation for that report. I'll direct any questions or comments in the first instance to the CEO, councillor Knox.
One comment. I've been raised in the White House for a pretty while now. And the longer we've let it go, the more it's costing us. And, we really need to get on top of our maintenance. And this is one area that's really going to spend.
Thank you, councillor.
Question.
Yes, councillor Border.
In the process of looking at the restoration, how much consideration is being given to potentially, and whether or not it's cost exclusive, but turning the lighthouse into a tourism attraction where you can have guided tours or whatever format of the tape. Does that be considered a mix? Does it seem viable or not viable?
It's everything that's conversations, the discussions about who mans that and how we operate that, given it's a remote area, we don't have, this information centre and the like here to do the vote and stuff and about having somebody, full time or having looked at how Western Australians do really well. They have their lighthouses and you can go for those tours and the like, and I haven't done one myself, but I understand the tour guide, because there's a safety harness, able bodied, making sure that we have sleeping response. So yeah, we certainly have, and the ancillary buildings that are out there, that used to be the diesel storage and the like, the light, about having, like whether it's kayaks or, like something like that. So activating that site and having more than just something that you can have a photo taken in. So there's conversations are happening. Just lots of information, so trying to figure out how we might do that.
Yeah.
Cost effective.
When I retire, can you free lighthouse tour guide?
About that?
Yes.
And councillor,
Take you up on that.
And there's a lot, and we do, and I get asked heaps by heaps of visitors, oh, can we have a look in the lighthouse? And if you take the time, those lighthouse cottages have a fantastic history. I'd just recommend, if you haven't done it, go back and read the history of those lighthouse cottages from the day they were built, the amount of people have drowned and all the dramas have been around getting stuff out there. It is an untapped historical tourist attraction that would be massive for the city if it's done properly. So if you haven't already done, just go and do some research and research the Whyalla Lighthouse, history of the Whyalla Lighthouse cottages. It is a fantastic part of our.
in fact, councillor, there is a fair bit of descriptive history as part of the display out of the Maritime Museum. If I could take a moment to expand on your question. You may find this hard to believe, but once upon a time I went up to the top of the lighthouse with a group that would go back for 2.5 decades ago or whatever. And I think by memory it's 99 steps. It is actually a very small lighthouse in comparison to lighthouses which are open to the public. The group that I was with at the time, and of course my role back in those days in tourism, was very clear: a totally unsafe lighthouse for the community to be going up to. Once you get up to the top, you really have to go outside. Unlike other lighthouses that I've been on over the years, again, many years ago, in South Australia and Victoria, there is no space at the top to walk around the light. You actually have to go outside. The time that I went outside, tripped over and almost. Yes, so yeah, back in those days, it was looked at as, because it had been talked about many a time, turning it into an attraction. But as you go up, it gets very narrow, and that's when you realise it is a small lighthouse width-wise, and I don't see it ever being open for something like that. The insurance risks, but in these days, would be horrendous as far as going up. I think the best we can ever do is maintain it, get it back to it was, and try to sell the history this Councillor English was talking about. But certainly, having been up there, 99, I'm pretty sure it was 99 steps. I wasn't going to go back up to see if it was 100. But yes, and as you get up, it's not a nice, even, circular bit. Sort of going a bit extra up a step. And with old age, not my old age, but the old age of the building, I could just imagine how that would still deteriorate even more. But yeah, it is a very small lighthouse at the top compared to anything that's open for inspection. All right. Now, we've got a recommendation there. Any further questions or comments? If not, would somebody care to move that recommendation? Sorry, Councillor. Move Councillor Knox, seconded. Councillor Porter. I'll put the motion. Those in favour, against, carried. Thank you. Item 15, information, decision reports, 15.1, council members, 15.1.1, the mayor's list of engagements. I'll answer any questions if I can. Otherwise, would somebody care to move the recommendation? Move Deputy Mayor Pong. Do I have a seconder? Seconded Councillor Simpson. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Thank you. 15.2 corporate services infrastructure. 15.2.1 the monthly information report, which again contains some significant information about the past and the future. Any questions or comments? I'll put direct to the appropriate officers. If not, would somebody care to move the 4-part recommendation? Move Councillor Inglis, seconded Councillor Border. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 16, notices of motion. Probably have one. Item 17, questions on notice 17.1 from Councillor Klobuchar, 17.1.1 with several questions about animal management, which is on the screen. Are you happy with those responses, Councillor Klobuchar?
There's a couple of questions. I don't really agree with that.
Oh, thank you.
One question, decision from the agenda. Just to prove the mayor, we managed to miss one question. That was put on notice. They got the response up there, which is in relation to New Year's Eve event.
Well, thank you. Certainly, thank you for the question. Councillor, there is an answer and something we can look at. Now that we've got an answer. Item 18, questions without notice. Do you have any questions without notice? Deputy Mayor Pond.
I've had quite a few residents approach me about the Civic Park playground. And we actually mentioned a lot of the comments that I've been getting when we were there to open that regarding putting in some shade and some seats. Lots of people, they love the playground. They can't stay for an extended time because it's just, especially over the summer, way too hot. The equipment is quite scorchy as well. So I've had a significant number of people reach out to me saying, can we please consider shade and some extra seats? And as I said, we actually identified that when we were opening it as well. Something for council to please consider. My next one. The change rooms at the rec centre, do we have a schedule for maintenance for those actually?
We did have a meeting the other day, so I know one of the project managers is scoping up, we have some renewal works planned for the change rooms. There was just, the scope was changing a little bit because there's a bit of ceiling damage that's been noted in that area. And so I think they were planning to have gone to the market already, but it's just been delayed a little bit while the scope of that is fleshed out fully. But yeah, no, that was the two, the change rooms there are flagged for renewal this year. Might slip into next year. Has it changed?
because of the airport projects.
Oh, is that one of the ones?
They
Okay.
could push those out
Yeah, I think the design, like the scope is getting done and we might go to market, but it will get delivered next year.
next year, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got a few people reading me about that as well, just so I can let them know the timeline. And my last question is regarding Tandera. There's been a lot of controversy in the last few days regarding the animal, sort of the plant nursery being closed. I was just wondering, were they given prior notice to that? So the board were.
First instance. So despite the social media commentary, the work on the nursery was well known to the tender board. Myself and Yusuf, there, Sue, met with the president and the secretary to talk about the infamous power cord that run across from one building to another. So we found a solution for providing power for their irrigation system. So the nursery is continuing to operate as a nursery. However, we're not providing power to the building. So the current tenant of that building who uses the power for things like a fridge and something else, a couple of things, maybe lights, is having to relocate to another building. But the actual nursery is not being closed down, and yes, it is done in consultation.
Lovely, thank you very much. Again, I've got some calls from this that I thought if I asked and got the information. I knew there was a breakdown of communication somewhere, just needed to work out where it was. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any further questions without notice? No questions. Thank you. Item 19, motions without notice. Do we have any motions without? Councillor Border.
Yes, I do have a motion without notice, and this is based on the questions or the answer from A9 to Councillor Falkenberg's. The answer was in relation to a community event with information about animal management, pet ownership and animal wellbeing. The last one was in June 2023. So I would like to put forward, if council would like to approve it, that council resolve to hold a community information event focused on education about responsible pet ownership, animal wellbeing, and related topics. That's it.
Thank you, Councillor.
So yeah, through the mayor, normally we would say that it's more appropriate to seek a report because we don't know potentially what the budget or resource implications are. However, if it's just for one community information event, that would be fine. Do that. Noting that would be done in conjunction with the RSPCA and the town as well.
I just like to see that in the basis.
Sorry, I can't hear you, Councillor.
I'd like to see that in the basis.
Can you report? Can you report? Sorry.
Make a comment. Doesn't have to be included in the motion, but it would be very useful if council to consider having some community animal de-sex in the moment. We have done that in the past. On an annual basis. That might help some of the unwanted pets around town, lots of cats.
Through the mayor, could I just ask, please scroll up just to see what the answer was to question A9? Yep. So the last community engagement event was held on June 23 during my bridge if we go. So if we can include in the motion that it would be amalgamated with an existing events and such as.
Well, through the mayor, I think the intent of the motion is pretty clear. How we provide that event, I think we need to take that on board as administration. I don't want, well, my suggestion is that we don't open it up to include microchipping and a whole heap of other things, because if you open it up, then you're going to have to see a report first, which you're essentially making a decision, not understanding what budget and resource implications are. In its simplest form, as it stands there at present, we can do that within an existing budget and resources. It may well be that we can partner with the RSPCA and also include microchipping or subsidised microchipping, but I don't want to commit to that today. If that's what council wants, then we'll need to call for a report to get that information before you make that decision.
Thank you. Yep. Happy to leave it as it is.
Thank you, councillor. Do I have a seconder then? Councillor Tropica. So we have a motion. Moved and seconded. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Any further motions without notice? No, thank you. Item 20, consideration of confidential items. Now, therefore, would somebody care to move that we go into confidence? Move councillor Tropica, seconded councillor Inglis. Put the motion that we go into confidence. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. We'll go into confidence. We have a list of dates for upcoming meetings. Item 21. There is no further business. I will declare the meeting closed at 7 p.m.